Touchdown.
Field goal.
So,
Oh, it's so close to a spin take on that.
I tried. So we're either, as you guys know, I don't know how to start the podcast yet, so it's either going to be Sam just spilling water everywhere, or something like, welcome to Late to the Movies. My name's Ben Holt, and this is a podcast where my friends and I get to fill in our movie blind spots. Every week we'll pick a movie that either I or a guest hadn't seen before, and really should have by now. Parentheses question mark. This week we're talking about the 2014 classic, Draft Day. Ivan Reitman's last film.
Yep.
With me today to talk about all the ins and outs, the backroom dealing, the balls of steel or whatever Frank Langella says Kevin Costner has at the end. Left to right across your podcast dial, it's... I've only ever called you Vaz. Is that okay?
Yeah, everyone does.
Okay, Vaz.
Hello.
Sam.
Hi.
And Bree.
Hello.
And this is a warm welcome to Vaz. This is his first time on the podcast. Thank you for being here on this
Thanks for having me.
special day.
I got to
On
come for
this
draft day.
draft day.
Yeah. So this is a movie that I have seen a few times. Sam has seen a lot.
Too many. Probably
And it
legitimately
was-
probably like 10.
Was it new for both of you?
It was new for me.
It was also new for me.
Okay, cool. So that's it's good to set expectations up top. Before we talk about Draft Day, we're going to talk a little bit about other stuff. And then maybe that'll be a full half of the episode. We'll see. We'll see. What have any of you guys seen recently?
Oh, well, I mean, I barely watch any movies, but do I want to talk about the French film that I watched this morning?
This morning?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I just watched 3 colors, a blue.
How'd that go?
It was great. Came out in 1993.
I haven't seen it.
I'm sure no one
Which
has.
Regale
It's a
us.
part of a trilogy. There's white and red.
Okay.
okay, it's about America.
France.
Oh, shucks. That was my next guess.
But if we want to talk about, like, depression and grief, we can talk about 3 colors blue.
Okay, all right.
We can talk. We're going to be talking about that in draft day anyway. So.
I mean, Kevin Costner is going through grief in that.
Yeah.
That's okay.
If we want, I can actually talk about something recent that I watched.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
What?
Ambulance.
Ambulance.
Oh, did you? How was
Ambulance.
that?
It was good.
I refuse to believe that.
I haven't had time to go see it, but I really want to. I'm seeing Northman tonight, so
I'm seeing that on Monday.
Yeah, and I still need to see the new Nick Cage movie.
Unbearable
Weight of
Weight
Massive
of
Talent. Yeah, Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
I actually did want to see that.
I want to see Petite Maman.
Me too. It's not playing around here.
No, it should be playing maybe in like a few weeks in the Boston Common.
Yeah, I think it is. But I meant around here. Like,
Oh, no, around here. No.
I don't want to go to. I don't
You
want to
don't wanna
drive
go
to
to
Boston. I love Silesiama though, so I'm excited to see that.
Same.
We all loved Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
Yes.
So
All of us.
This
Everyone.
is-
All
this-
of us watched and
Yep.
loved that.
this is her
course.
follow up, but I'm really
There's
excited.
so many
for it.
portraits, ladies, and a little fire.
Yeah, a little
Do
fun.
love
There
ladies.
is a little fire. So do the ladies in that film. They also love ladies.
Yes.
Good movie.
We watched. We've been watching. Was it Close Enough?
Oh yeah, the new season of Close Enough came out on HBO.
Is the regular show creator J.G. Quintel's midlife crisis show?
Okay.
Where he plays basically himself being the father of a small daughter with his wife and like
Who's a mother?
Who's a mother?
And like 3 or 4 roommates, because that's the millennial experience.
Yep, there's Jason Mantzoukas playing Jason Mantzoukas. Essentially, there's
Great.
Stretch for Jeffrey Carradine.
yeah, Jeffrey character weedies. There's who's that? It's
Kimiko Glenn?
yes,
Is that her name? Yeah.
who's Brooke from Orange Is the New Black. Yeah, and it's funny. It's the same regular show thing where everything starts out normal and some crazy thing happens and threatens to destroy the universe every episode.
It's a little more toned down than regular show, but like in a realistic way where it's like they exaggerated a little bit to like demonstrate like the millennial like existential crisis, but it's really fun. It's really funny. It's very cute. It's definitely worth watching. Like the episodes are like 10 minutes long, and it's 2 episodes per like 28-minute block. Yeah. Definitely worth going through.
Yeah, like season 1 had a bit where like there was like this party where like Zoomers were trying to kill all people that weren't Zoomers, and like they were about to kill J.G. Quintel, and Jason Mantzoukas' character yelled, "I have a Blockbuster Video rewards card!" Like to basically like zombie horde them away from stuff like that. It's good. Bree, you watched The House. Do you want to talk about The House?
So I forgot that I watched The House. I literally from the recording of this, I watched it 2 days ago. I brought it up this morning to like I brought up like the whole like what have we watched thing, and Sam was like, "You watched The House," and I'm like, "I did." 2 days ago.
So what is The House?
So The House is a 2017, I believe it was, comedy with Will Ferrell and Amy Poehler playing parents of their daughter that's trying to go to college. And they find out that the scholarship she was supposed to get, she is no longer getting. So they set up with Jason Mantzoukas.
Mantzoukas everywhere.
Yeah, he's everywhere in everything that we watch. Who is a gambling addict. All 3 of them set up an illegal casino in his house, and it's just the antics of that. Jeremy Renner's in there as like a mob boss, and he's relevant like only like an hour into the movie, and then he just gets murked. Like he gets set on fire, his arm gets cut off. Like
a real allegory for his career.
Yeah, seriously. Nick Kroll's the bad guy, and it's hilarious because at first I thought they were straight manning Nick Kroll, and then they made him into a giant douchebag.
Like all Nick Kroll characters.
Yeah.
I was very convinced they were trying to straight man him because that's what it seemed like at the very beginning. I forgot who's the guy that plays the cop, but he turns out to be real good.
Okay. All these people that were just hanging out already.
Yeah. These were,
yeah.
They filmed it over a weekend.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I remember that coming out. I've definitely never seen it though. Good?
So
if you don't remember watching it 2 days ago.
So it's one of those comedies that it's like in that era of just a bunch of comedies coming out. I would say it's fine for like the watch, but it's not a rewatchable comedy in my opinion.
You should have watched Casa de Mi Padre, which was my original.
I am definitely going to watch that before the next podcast and talk about it because the plot is phenomenal. They're all speaking Spanish and none of them actually speak Spanish, and it's hilarious to me.
Well, at least Will Ferrell.
Oh, only him? I thought it was the whole movie.
No, a lot of the cast is Spanish speaking at least.
Oh, okay.
But there was a bit I only showed her a bit where Nick Offerman was trying to communicate to Will Ferrell, speaking very Ron Swanson like tonal Spanish. So just like helicoptero, like very American accent.
So one thing we didn't mention, while we're all talking about the different like genre of film we're watching, we're all wearing T-shirts. It's like 70 degrees outside, and as he's talking about his French films, Vaz is wearing a scarf.
Yes. Vaz is
I
a
like
scarf
wearing
guy.
scarves. I'm into scarves now.
I like it. Summer scarves.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
It's spring.
All right. Well.
Foz, do you want to go over just like for the audience, like how many Oscar films in your life you've
Oh yeah, you're a movie person. Like definitely talk
to
about
set
that.
the tone of the
we should.
Yeah.
The absolute bullcrap we're about to put you through.
There's 571 or 77 movies that have been nominated for Best Picture. I've seen, I forget how many I've seen. There's 196 I haven't seen.
I could do that math in my head, but
Yeah,
I'm
do
bored.
it.
But I won't.
I watch a movie pretty much every day. I've already seen over 100 movies this year. I watch a lot.
And we made you watch
Like 2022 movies, or just movies that
Just
you've watched in
movies
2022.
In 2022.
Okay.
Not from 2022. I don't think that's possible.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. You're really scraping the bottom of the barrel. Just like, does this YouTube video count?
So yeah, we pulled you out of a hole to watch Draft Day. And how much do you love football?
Oh, like
Good.
enough where I know the sport.
Yeah, so that's a good way to set it up. Oh, and I haven't watched anything. I recorded an episode last night that's actually going to come out after this one. So anything I've been watching, I covered on that one. So you'll have to wait till next week to see what I've been watching. One thing I didn't mention is I just rewatched all of season 1 of the Action Button reviews. Those are just on YouTube. That's Tim Rogers doing long form video reviews of video games. And they're all awesome. They're all extremely good. If you want to jump in, I mean, I think there's only 6 maybe 5 or 6 episodes. He starts with the Final Fantasy VII remake, ends with Cyberpunk 2077. The last one has like a choose your own adventure sort of format. It's awesome.
Nice.
In the middle, he covers this just as like a jumping in point. He covers a game called Tokimeki Memorial, which I have never played and never will because it never got localized into English. But it's a game I'd never heard of until I watched that review, and it is it's like one of my favorite reviews of anything ever. It's only I think 5 or 6 hours long, so worth checking out. Those are all just on YouTube. You can just watch them. So those are if you're looking for a series of mini-series length reviews of video games.
I mean, I watched John Boy's videos on YouTube, which are like 11-hour documentaries on like the Atlanta Falcons. So I think
there you go.
I could do a 5-hour video game review pretty easily.
But yeah, we were doing a smooth transition into talking about draft day, so let's continue.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it was my fault. I was like, wait, I didn't say what I'm watching. So Vaz, I think you've only listened to one episode, but
Yeah.
You may have picked up that someone who hasn't watched the movie before does a 1-minute plot summary.
Oh, so I have to do that.
That's on you.
All right.
Sam insisted that no one tell you anything.
All right. Is there a clock? It's someone like.
Yep, I'm watching
start
the
the
clock.
All right. Start the clock.
Starting.
All right. Kevin Costner, his father died, and he has to do a draft day. Also, Jennifer Garner is his girlfriend, and she's pregnant. What else? He's on the phone a lot. He's talking to Frank Langella, disgraced actor Frank Langella.
Not disgraced when we planned this episode.
No, he's recently disgraced. And he's got to do a draft, and he's like Vontae Mack, and then eventually gets Vontae Mack. What else? Someone's laptop
About
gets
30
destroyed.
seconds.
Oh, I have plenty of time. They go to a water park. They go to New
We
York.
just went back to the first 5 minutes of the movie.
That was important. Let's see. Ellen Boinstein shows up. That's Kevin Costner's mom.
10 seconds.
Oh shit. He does it the way he wants.
Electric.
That actually, yeah.
No, yeah, that's something.
All right.
Yep.
Technically, you came in under a minute.
Yeah,
so
you got the
Yeah,
water
there we
park
go.
in there.
Thank God.
It's weird because like I'm not like the biggest football guy. I'm not like a huge NFL brand head, but I do watch most of the drafts, and I don't remember any of this happening. I definitely watched the 2014 draft, and this was not what I recalled. I
No.
would have remembered this.
It seemed big news because like Bo Callahan was like the prime guy to
Yeah.
be number one in the draft.
And I guess he's already out of the league, so I guess Sonny was right that he was going to be a bust.
I heard about Vontae Mack recently. Sorry.
Yeah.
Hold on, just really quick. I need to put this out there. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. I'm very sorry that your limited time on this earth, you had to film this movie.
This is
With
either
all
the
of your talent.
first or second, either this or 42 is the first Chadwick Boseman movie I saw. But it is weird that white people just get to use normal voices in this movie. No one else.
Oh my god, I think that was one of the
Besides
first. thoughts.
Terry Crews, who's using a normal voice, and
Yeah.
How about his son?
is not.
Yeah.
It's like, where did his son grow up? Because it's not what his dad sounds like.
Yeah.
We should. So one thing I want to try doing is at the top, in case someone's like, "Oh, I love this movie," everyone's gonna make fun of it. It's perfectly watchable.
Yeah.
You know, I don't hate it as much as maybe Bree did, but I also don't think it's great. And I do want to foreground the fact that Sam really wanted to do this movie.
So when off the top, when Ben was like, "Oh, here's like the point of my podcast is to watch, basically watch a movie that you should have." And then talk about it. No one has to see this movie. This movie, I've basically just campaigned for this movie to be in this podcast because it's ridiculous. If you have any knowledge of football whatsoever, it doesn't make any sense because this is not how a draft would go, and it's like insane, the trades and the moves they make. And if you haven't, or if you have no interest in football, it's just a lot of people yelling at each other and Jennifer Garner's character being the worst. And like, I think it actually.
Well, I think it's important that she apologizes to Sonny for being pregnant.
Yeah.
I think I'm glad they worked that into the movie. Strong female characters.
Yeah, no, she might as well just been yelling, "I'm a strong female character written by men" in every single scene she was in.
I'm a Cleveland girl and I am football.
Oh
She
God, I
loves
hated that
football.
line so. No, she is football.
Oh, I forgot
Yeah,
she is.
she starts saying I love football, and then by the end of the sentence she says I'm a Cleveland girl and I am football.
I also, really quick, I do want to mention, I don't hate the movie. So at first I was like, I'm not going to like this because I know nothing about football, but I realized very quickly it's such a deep cut kind of football that it's like, I don't feel right saying I don't like it because I just didn't understand a lot of it. It's like a lot of it was football terms I didn't know. I don't know how. I don't know like regular like draft day stuff, so it's like I can't judge it on things I don't know as like a baseline. So like Sam explained a lot of the things and like why some of the things were dumb and like how some of the things were accurate, but because I have like no actual knowledge of football, I feel like I can't judge this movie that harshly. I'll make fun of it for like the dumb things they say.
I don't know if the people
but-
who wrote it know any more about football than you do. One of the things that came to mind whilst watching this, and this is a joke that will only land for a few people, but I'm among them, so I'm going to say it. It's as if Moneyball, instead of 2011 Aaron Sorkin, was written by 2022 Aaron Sorkin. It's big dumb.
Yeah,
So
Sam definitely brought up Moneyball as like a comparison in a way that it's like Moneyball's a baseball movie, but like it's probably more for baseball fans. So
one of the itches that this scratches in my brain is the thing about people who talk about the NFL, which I will refuse to refer to as its full name as protest. Anyone who talks about football on TV always says the National Football League. They always say the full titles of things. Yeah. And it's so weird to me that everyone is just like such a company man and carrying the water. And obviously Roger Goodell appears in this film and actual, they actually filmed like on location in Cleveland and stuff. So you get the idea that they weren't going to be allowed to do those things unless they show such bizarre reverence for full titles of every football team that they talk about.
Yep.
Like no one just says like the Jaguars. They say the Jacksonville Jaguars.
They don't say the Jags.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, they don't show all the drunk people just yelling Duval. Like it's.
Roger Goodell gets cheered walking to the
Yep,
stage. I don't know if anyone has ever watched an NFL draft. That man
That's
gets
not what
booed
happens.
harder than anyone's ever been booed in their life.
So yes, it's all just like company men carrying the water for the NFL. It's just like the kind of weird brand reverence that I feel like is all over this movie.
Yes, and lots of advertisement like
Pepsi products.
Yeah,
and not even NFL stuff. When Sonny's like, "Oh, you're going to the draft to Frank Langella," he goes, "No, I'm going to New York to watch Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark." Like, you would just say the Spider-Man show on Broadway. You wouldn't say, I'm going to see Julie Taymor's Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, starring Reeve Carney. Like,
You should go buy a ticket.
They also kept saying Radio City Music Hall. That's where that's where the draft is. Radio City
where the
Music Hall.
draft is.
Have you heard about this?
Radio City Music.
It starts, and then like the biggest thing that's like, oh, I remember, this is just like ESPN hagiography, is one of the opening monologues is from Chris Berman. So it's like, oh, right, yeah. This is, this is what it is.
Yeah, they take a shot at Papa John's pizza, and then it cuts to somebody saying "good pizza." Like
oh my god! Yeah, because Papa John's, I think, was like the official like pizza place for the NFL. Same with
he's the first guy to congratulate Peyton Manning when the Broncos won the Super Bowl.
Yep. Just to
we can be more structured than this, but there's just like a lot of stuff.
There's so like I can't even break down the three dumbest things about this movie.
I can. Number one,
okay, let's do
is the dumb, like the owner of the Browns, that the dumb pun he makes about having to make a splash where it needed to be filmed at the water park is the dumbest gag.
How to get to the water park?
Like there's no reason to film
Yep.
that at the water park, but they wanted to make that joke.
People want to get wet, Sonny.
Just kept making those jokes, and I thought it was the dumbest part of this movie.
I was surprised that this was a comedy.
It's so weird.
And what I mean, I'm surprised by after I watched the movie, I saw on IMDb they listed it as a comedy.
Yeah, and
Is that real?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
It's comedic because
movie.
Griffin Newman from Blank Check, oft reference on this podcast, is in there doing actually good bits.
Fire!
But
I did not know this was
no one
listed as a
else.
comedy.
No one else is comedy. People are just constantly telling him to like fuck off the whole movie.
like
It's
so
like, wow, you really can't. Like, this is 2014. You really can't talk to interns like that.
so many character actors got sucked into this movie. Like it's
Multiple actors from Veep are in it.
yeah.
Yes.
And the guy who plays Ben Caffey, Kevin Dunn, I think is his name.
Yeah.
Doesn't even get a joke. He's just in it to
No,
walk Frank Langella around and say no funny things the entire time.
A waste.
Perhaps like a top 3 character in Veep. Like that dude was a
like,
line machine.
You're like, oh, let's bring in him and I forget his name, the guy who plays Jonah.
It's Tim something, but that is
Yes.
Oh, that was a real waste of a hire.
Right,
I
yeah,
love-
and like those two guys in there.
That guy is
like,
one of the funniest. Plays one of the funniest characters in TV history, and he doesn't say anything funny.
No,
Timothy Simon, I want to say.
that sounds right.
Yeah, Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace. Chadwick Boseman does a great job.
He does.
At what he has to do.
And for Chadwick Boseman,
Yeah.
I feel like he did this over like a weekend because
he's not in
since
it
he's
a lot.
on the phone with anyone.
He's also
he
not
doesn't-
with anyone in
Yeah.
person else in the movie.
Besides
Oh,
right at the
that's
end
true,
when they're
yeah.
filming the stadium stuff.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is
Which only
an
requires
afternoon.
3 actors of actual note.
The only person that they can get full time was Kevin Costner. Everyone else had to be on the phone.
Yeah. I do like. I will say, for real quickly, I do like the phone transitions. I like it's. They're really kind of. They're kitschy, but like when he's on the phone and people are walking through the transition, or like somebody walks to the forefront and walks in front of the basically like the border between the two scenes. Like I think that's kind of like a nice like.
Yeah, I feel like the editors had
effect.
fun. When
Yeah,
they were
exactly.
doing that.
I'm
Like,
glad they
I
had
don't
a
just have
good
to have a
time.
guy next to someone on the
Yeah.
phone.
The
I'm glad they
writers
had a
are the
good
real
time.
failure of this movie.
Well, so one thing I do think it does well is the editing and the constant countdown that's happening leading up to the draft starting. I think is actually pretty good, and it's very zippy because I think it actually does play shorter than it is because it's almost an hour 50 minutes long.
Yeah.
And it does go by real quick. It's like I said, it's extremely watchable.
I watched it with ads too.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez, boss.
Yeah, because as in the last time I watched this movie, you can just start playing it online. You don't have to pay anyone to do so.
I bought it on Amazon Prime knowing that I was probably going to watch it like once a year around this time.
There you go.
So I made an investment.
One thing, I couldn't find the quote at the time, and I didn't want to get it wrong because it's too good, but the whole people saying the full names of things, even when like it makes no sense for these characters to be doing this, and just like they couldn't think of a better way to dump this exposition for a character that isn't even in the movie. But when the trainer is talking about Brian Drew, and is that Tom Welling?
Yeah.
Okay, Tom Welling from Smallville is Brian Drew. He's in a couple scenes. He's like the quarterback or whatever. And the trainer's talking to Sonny, Kevin Costner, about how good Brian Drew looks because they think Sonny's going to draft a quarterback, but no, you don't have to. Brian Drew looks better than he's ever been. He's going to be great this season. And he says, your star wide receiver, Andre Bello, is telling me about the secret workouts. It's like, well, he could just say Andre.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have to say, your star wide receiver, Andre Bello, has been telling.
We don't
Why
even
would
see
two
Andre
people-
Bellows.
Oh no, we
But-
do. Andre
do?
Bello is there for a brief scene where when Brian Drew finds out post trash office, the strength and conditioning coach is talking to him, and Andre Bello is on the other side being like, "Come on, man, it's okay." But he's
okay.
never talked
Oh,
about. He's never mentioned.
Is he a real
Oh, that's
person?
so funny.
Oh.
That's the
But,
other
like,
thing.
They clearly
Like,
had like a cut scene for him that just never.
But
made it.
it's just the absolute epitome of not trusting your audience, which is a thing that Aaron Sorkin does today. But of just being like, if he just says like, "Oh yeah, Andre's been telling me about the secret workouts," they don't trust you to be like, "Oh, that's someone working out with Brian Drew."
Yeah.
It'd be like, and then they wrote like, "Oh yeah, your wide receiver." That's not enough. They need more. Your star wide receiver, Andre
What's
Bello.
his name? Damn it!
You remember from they say like a college he went to and his height
He's
and weight.
6'3", his combine
Humane
stats.
States.
Yeah.
Yes, combine stats.
gosh, they really did do that in this movie so much. They just had to like just name every single detail they could for everything with the teams.
Spider-Man
like-
turned off
It was
the
like they knew
That's- oh,
people
that's
were
the
going to be
worst part.
dragging people to this movie.
Yeah,
and didn't know
it's like to prevent the whispers in the the
Yeah.
audience, like, hey, this is this person. They just did it for you on screen.
I like to
Andre
imagine.
Bellows.
I like to
Star
imagine.
wide receiver.
I like to imagine it's like a Caddyshack situation where Andre Bello was really the star of the movie.
Yeah.
And then Kevin Costner and Langella just improvised so much that they had to sprinkle. They're like, we got to cut him out.
I did want to throw out real quickly the strength and conditioning coach. Again, unfortunately, I cannot remember the actor's name off the top of my head, but he plays Piscatella in Orange is the New Black, who is like basically the big bad of like season 3 or 4. And one thing I know about that dude is that he is a complete method actor that, very much like Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder, does not drop character until the end of filming. And I really want, you got his name?
Brad William Henke.
Brad William Henke. So I really want to just like imagine that this dude was just walking around lifting weights for like 2 months or however long he had.
Just got absolutely shredded.
Yeah, just because he couldn't drop character, that he was just going up to people in the street slapping asses, trying to like make people better. That's all. But I just thought it was funny because
for the 2
it's
scenes
such
he
a
was
not
in.
needed role. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not in a lot of stuff. He's in Orange is the New Black. I think he's like the number 3 in Choke, but like with Sam Rockwell.
On IMDb, the first 2 things listed are Orange is the New Black and Draft Day.
Yeah.
So I should mention that this is, I think, the first one I'm doing with no notes. We're just doing this one raw.
I had notes, but I forgot to bring them up.
Oh yeah, you pulled out your laptop and
did.
everything.
I don't think we need notes.
We don't
I think
need-
we're good.
Yeah.
Talking from the soul on this
So
one.
it's okay if we're a little scattershot on all this, right?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I think it's okay. We're doing a little scattershot just to pull something together. We should talk a little bit about Ivan Reitman. I mentioned before that this is his last movie, but in case you don't know, he is the guy who did
Goosebusters.
Goosebusters. Yeah, the run of Murray movies in the 80s. It's Stripes and Meatball.
Maybe.
I guess I should look at it.
Let's give it to him. He deserves it.
He produced
what? He
Space
deserves
Jam?
it. He produces a ton.
Yeah.
And
He
is one
produced
of
Up in the Air.
the most successful dudes ever. But yeah. So Meatball, Stripes, Ghostbusters, the music video for Ray Parker Jr.'s Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters 2, Kindergarten Cop, Dave's good, Twins, Junior, and then into the thousands, he keeps working and does some like rom-comish.
That's a
type
good way to
stuff.
describe it. He keeps working.
He keeps working, and his last movie, he finishes My Super Ex-Girlfriend, No Strings Attached, and then Draft Day.
Yep. Hers. And then he passed away
Iconic.
earlier this year.
Yes. He still, I think he even has just because of estate stuff, he still has a producer credit on the new Ghostbusters.
Oh, yeah. Makes sense.
But I don't know
And
if he
his-
worked on it at all before dying, because obviously his son directs.
Yeah, his son's
Yeah.
his son did Juno up in
And
the
I think
air.
he's an executive producer on a decent amount of, it's Jason Reitman, right?
Yeah, Jason.
Yeah, on a decent amount. I think he's like on Up in the Air. He's listed as a producer
Yeah.
too. So his name's all over the place, and he got one of the weird shout outs during the in memoriam at the Oscars this year, because he just died from Bill Murray. Well, there was a bunch of people happily dancing in the background about how many people are dead. And they went to Bill Murray and he went, Ivan Reitman's a great man. And there's a bunch of guys like, this one died too. Yeah, we don't have to, we've devoted a lot of podcast time to how bad the Oscars were this year. Let's go back. But anyway, yeah. So Ivan Reitman, legend. This is the last movie. Go out on a high.
Yeah.
I mean, it will be on TNT a lot.
Yeah. I'm sure it plays a lot on cable like at this time, because like the actual NFL draft will be next week. So I actually don't know for the podcast timing, but
As of recording, it'll be next week.
No, this will
Thursday.
come out this Monday, so it's coming. So the actual NFL draft will be a few days after this episode releases.
I mean, there's no other draft movies, right? I mean, in general, like no beer movies about drafting, no drafting about like Born on the 4th of July is not really a draft movie, right?
It's just draft horse movies.
Is Stripes a draft movie? Is this Ivan
a
Reitman's
draft
second
movie.
draft movie?
Yeah, it's weird because
The Draftiverse, obviously.
there's so much sort of drama around sports drafts, but this is just such a literal depiction of a draft day that
Yeah.
I don't know that you could make another one
No,
that
and,
differentiates itself enough.
especially with that, like NFL's not going to sanction it, so you would have to do it without the NFL's license most
Yeah.
likely.
And it wouldn't feel as corporate, maybe, but
Yeah,
I
which
don't
would probably be better, but I don't know. Like, it's just funny to me, like, just from a quick, just actual football perspective. Like, Kevin Costner trades the 7th pick for the first pick for 3 first rounders, which is a big, like, for non-football fans, that is a lot of capital. It's your whole future basically to trade away. But it has
Especially
precedent.
if you're bad.
Especially if you're bad. But it has precedent that a similar trades have happened. They do mention that early on in the movie.
Yep.
But then basically the moral of the story is no, like, I just want to stick with my guns and pick Chadwick Boseman's character because that's what I said at the beginning when I wrote a little note on a sticky, like on a yellow sticky note and put it in my pocket. Like,
First off, it was green.
So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, because he blinks and he thinks he's going to get fired if he doesn't trade up.
yeah.
So he's kind of a coward.
Yeah, well, I mean,
but then he sticks with it anyway. It's like, well, that's the guy you wanted.
Well, that's and that's you're gonna get fired for that because you just cost your team a lot of money to trade and a lot of future to trade up, and then the end of this movie is very entertaining, not plausible at all. It's almost like superhero movie like it's like this would never happen in real life, but it was fun to watch.
Yeah.
From a sports fan perspective, but he trades. He has to trade with a team, and I can just see the writers in their head just being like, all right, he's got to really rip somebody off to like pull this off, because the whole basically plot of the movie is that he's willing to take a giant L for his own stance. But it's like, well, if he needs to be the hero at the end of this movie, because if he didn't make more trades, the end of this movie would just be Frank Langella firing him and him being happy about it. So he has to trade with somebody, and you could just see the writers being like, oh, who do we have to make this trade that he fleeces somebody on? It's like, oh, of course, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Just the worst team.
Just always the butt of the joke.
I wonder how the GM of the Jaguars felt about being depicted as like a diaper baby.
What do you think? I am a jerk?
That is the best line in the movie.
Oh yeah, they had a weird like Pampers endorsement in there. Like they didn't say diapers, they said Pampers. Like
Yep.
the official diaper of the NFL.
Also,
I think they probably got money for that too. He's Sonny Weaver works for the Cleveland Browns because it was cheaper to film in Ohio. So it's very possible that like
Oh, that's funny.
it's not like they built any sets for this movie, so I don't know.
Right.
There was,
Also, how dare you say that while the jerk line is probably the 3rd best line, how dare you say that pancake eating motherfucker is not the best line?
come on, you pancake eating motherfucker.
That was a legitimate good line.
Could be the best F-bomb in a PG-13 movie.
Yeah, it honestly might be. So so one thing that we should, get back to is I think Kevin Costner's actually pretty good in this movie.
Yeah.
He's doing the
I mean,
Kevin Costner
I mean, he
thing.
is like the guy for sports movies too.
Yeah.
This is what his
Yeah.
4th, I think.
What other sports
Yes,
movies?
Tin
have you done?
Game,
He's which
Tin
one?
Cup.
Boulder
Bull Durham.
That's
Bold-
at least 4.
Oh, I've seen none of
Field of
these.
Dreams.
They're
Or
all
did
like
you say that?
80s.
5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
okay.
Wait,
what
Makes
was the one
sense.
you
But
said?
but Bull Durham and Field of Dreams.
For Love of the Game.
Love of the Game.
Yeah.
The other baseball one he's in.
Yeah. Is For Love of
That's
the Game the one
Costner.
that ends with somebody hitting a home run and all the lights getting...
That's in the natural.
Oh, that's the natural.
Robert Redford.
Oh, natural.
Someone hits a home run and all the lights blow out in the stadium because the home run was so cool.
Oh my
It
god.
was.
I have
He
seen
cracked
none
the
of
bat.
these.
Yeah, baseball movies are a weird one.
And
Bull Durham's
Baseball
a very
movies
good...
are actually the good sports movies.
Yeah, Bull Durham, legit good movie.
Yes.
I will say, like, sports movies can be good. I don't think
The Mighty Ducks is the only good sports movie.
No, watch Bull Durham. That's really good.
Bull Durham has great lines. I will say.
Also,
that.
Moneyball's great too.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Moneyball either.
I think if we want to go into that a little bit,
I think we picked like 4 interesting movies for
Yeah,
sports
I know.
month.
And I
Also,
know,
Field of Dreams, also great.
Yeah.
Do that for next sports month.
Yeah. The people that were watching these movies thinking like, all right, and like, what next sports movie do we have? Do we have Bull Durham? Do we have Field of Dreams? No, it's Draft Day. It's a movie that no one needs to see, really. Oh, I mean, it's fun, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
With Moneyball though, it's interesting because Moneyball, it's probably the closest comp to like it's a sports like ownership management, like movie. It's not about the product on the field. It's about the office, politics. And Moneyball, as you stated in your episode, is so smart and it's so well written. And draft day is it's literally just a giant advertisement for the NFL draft.
Yes, it is product as opposed to art.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Also, really good chance that if Moneyball
I can't believe I'm the most
didn't come-
pretentious guy in the room. Where Voz wearing his scarf.
He took his scarf off.
It was
Oh,
okay.
It's on now.
It was getting.
But if Moneyball didn't come out, it never came, Draft Day, I'm pretty sure would not have come out. I'm pretty sure
think
this
so.
was a direct response to
Yeah,
Moneyball.
Yeah, I think Moneyball is sort of proof of concept that a sports movie can be well received if there's not that much sports in it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a fantasy football TV show, so that was already taken.
So Ellen Burstyn and as Sonny's mom and brings his ex-wife
Yep.
to what they know is the most busy day of his entire year, probably. And they're like, we have to have a ceremony for your dad.
We have to
And
spread
it
the
has to be
ashes
right.
today.
It has to happen right now, or you're an asshole.
Yeah.
Also, you have to read this Gaelic poem that we never get to hear. I was dying to know what it was.
Chekhov's Gaelic poem.
And then everyone in the Browns organization is against him, so they all go have the ceremony anyway, kind of just to spite him.
Yep.
So I did have a little point to that. So like I know Sam was saying like this is ridiculous. Like this is the most busy day. Like he's super stressed out, and I'm like, well, if you think about it from like a sympathetic side, like her husband died.
Yeah, and she just wants to get past it.
I know if I was in that position, it's like I would do anything that like my husband like had like wanted me to do, like with like his dying wish. So like I get it, and I can get the frustrations of like a grieving woman. Just like I just want to do what he wanted. Like I just want him to rest in peace. And if your son's being like shitty about it, in your eyes, it's like, well, I'm gonna do this anyway. Your father wanted you to do it, but like I want him to rest in peace. So like, come on, she's a grieving woman.
Yes. And they're like giving him shit for not going to the will reading. It's like, you knew I had something today.
Yeah.
You could have. That's just a meeting with a lawyer. That didn't have to happen today.
Yeah, that could have been moved to another day. But the actual spreading the ashes, the father definitely wanted done on a draft day, which that sucks on the father, but it's not the mother's fault.
No.
Yeah, and to be fair, if they had given him a heads up, maybe he could have gotten his head around it because it wasn't
Right.
that much time out of his day.
Yeah,
And everyone he's working with is also going to the event, so it's not like they're going to be like, oh, what's he doing?"
exactly. Yeah,
I
they're all doing it anyway.
Yeah, they're all doing it anyway.
I will give credit to the casting director to sit there and go, all right, we have this head coach whose entire job is to be an asshole to somebody and say sweetie unironically. Who do we get? Oh, Dennis Leary.
He was great. He was actually a very
He
good
did
part of this
exactly
movie.
what he always does.
did the
and that
Dennis
was
Leary thing.
exactly what he needed to do. I think probably the worst scene for me in the movie is when he's sitting at
Oh,
the lunch
God.
table with Jennifer Garner's strong female character, and he says something. I'm not gonna do it justice, but he says something like, "I need somebody I need a quarterback who understands my playbook. You know, like spider 2Y, like like flip de do
Marshmallow banana.
Yeah, marshmallow banana 6'5", and then she's like, "You understand?" And she says, "Don't patronize me. Of course I understand."
You know I know what that means. I grew up in this game too.
She is.
I'm a
football.
Cleveland girl and I am football. That's
God, I
definitely
hate
going to be the entirety of the description that I
It
upload
should
to
be.
Spotify.
Her character is nonsense.
Our
Like,
podcast is a Cleveland girl and we are football.
yeah.
She is 1,000% written by a man. I don't think there was any consultations on how a woman acts. Like she is so bad. I've decided my new lane.
I've never
in-
even changed a diaper. You think I want to be a mom?
Oh, God.
Kids suck.
She was so
We all
bad.
know this.
I've decided my new lane in these podcasts every time I'm in, because I forgot to do with the last few movies, is to see if something passes the Bechdel test. This does not pass the Bechdel test.
She might talk to Ellen Burstyn
Ooh.
about what her
About a
name.
man.
No,
Yeah.
she corrects her on what her name is.
Yeah, she calls her by the wrong name. Does it count as passing the Bechdel test if it's women sniping at each other?
Probably not, but I don't think I can give it a pass on that.
I mean, there's literally 3 female characters in this whole movie, and I'm pretty sure one is just ex-wife.
Yeah, I don't think
She
I
doesn't
don't
get a
think
name,
she's
and also I spent the whole scene being like, "Is that the sister?
Yeah,
Who is it?"
exactly. I swore it was the sister, because why would the ex-wife be there?
She was close to his dad, I guess.
Maybe.
And she has a line, so she at least got like.
She has a line,
like,
but I
she
don't
got
think
SAG
she's
money.
She got
named.
paid, yeah. She got paid.
Um,
So there's one of those instances in I wish I had written it down, but like a SAG it's definitely like a union issue where there's someone who says a line to someone else and the guy just goes like,
Oh, you pointed that out. I forgot. Yeah,
I
it
he
was
just kind of like shakes his head.
I think it
It's
was
like, oh, he
something
didn't
on
get
the
paid.
phone where it was like,
Yeah.
we get like, they're gonna think about the trade, and they go or something like that, and the guy just
Yeah,
like,
the guy
nods.
just goes like,
It was,
well,
it was in Seattle. It was when he's outside, and he goes, "Does that?" They have like a guy.
yes,
Yeah.
that is
They
what
have
it is.
they're basically like looking like they're trying to string up the GM outside, like a fake GM outside the window to taunt the Seattle GM, and he points to a guy and says, "Does that look like me?"
Yeah.
And
The
some
guy
dude
just-
shrugs and does not get paid for that.
Yep.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that guy didn't get paid.
He didn't get paid. Yeah, this movie is
Chai McBride was there. Like I just keep thinking
Done
about
on the
how many
cheap.
people. That fixes our salary cap issue. Oh, that's another point.
Does that fuck us on the salary cap?
Yeah.
I can make it work.
Yeah, the most I must stress this. The most realistic thing about this movie is that the salary cap is just played as a joke because it is in the NFL. There is a salary cap for contracts, and it is real. It does exist, but you can circumvent it so easily. So when they do something, it's like, oh, that's going to be $5 million more on the cap, and then go, is that okay? And they go, we can make it work. That's true. Because the salary cap's just an idea. It's
Yes,
not real.
very little guarantees in
Yeah.
the NFL for contracts. So.
People are very often threatened to renegotiate their contract, or they're just going to get cut. So it's
Yep.
like, hey, either make $4 million less or make $0 million. Your choice.
So, one thing I do want to talk about. So he has the 7th pick,
Yes.
and he gives up the 7th pick
For the fifth pick.
and 3 first-round picks.
Well, so the seventh pick and 2 more. They
Okay,
keep
sorry.
saying your next 3 first-round picks. So I believe that is the trade. It is the 7th overall pick.
So I
And then
thought
the next two
the
first.
first offer is the 7th and the next 2, but then I think when he calls back, it's the 7th and the next 3.
Maybe not because
Sure?
so when they're talking in the
Alright.
war room, and they're like, what did you give up? And he very dramatically reveals each asset one by one, which no one would ever do.
Yeah, and Timothy Simon's like, well, that's okay. That's
Yeah.
a lot to give up. And he goes, hold on.
Yeah. And also next year's first pick. And then Denis Leary's like, I can't coach a team without a future.
Yeah. I hate rookie quarterbacks. They're all bad. It's like, well, this guy's apparently Peyton Manning. He's like, well,
Yeah.
but yeah, so he takes the 7th pick and the next 2 first-round picks and 3 second-round picks,
Yeah.
and he turns them into the 1st and 7th
Seventh.
pick again.
Yeah.
And he gets the 2 other first-rounders back.
He gets the other 2 first rounders back, but he loses 3 seconds.
So he loses 3 seconds to
Yeah.
basically draft 2 guys that would have been available
Yes.
At 7.
At 7.
instead of just getting one of them.
One. Yeah.
And he's substantially overpaying for one of them.
Yes, and then he is immediately lauded as a hero by Cleveland media, which I don't know Cleveland sports media, but I have to assume it's very cynical.
All the sports guys also laud him as a hero as well.
Yeah.
Because he took the 7th pick and he sprinkles a little fairy dust
Oh,
on it.
I forgot that line.
So, but he ends up with the 6th pick for 3 second rounders. So he could have picked those guys at 6 and 7 and given up the 3 second rounders.
Yeah.
But instead gives up the 3 second rounders and gets them at 1 and 7.
Yeah. And then
And,
there's
and
that.
it messes up their salary cap.
It messes up their salary cap real bad.
So yeah, so all he had to do was stay at 7 and give 3 second rounders.
Yeah.
But I guess the argument is he's behaving so erratically that it throws everyone off, and that's why Bo's
Which
still available.
also wouldn't happen because there'd been dozens of months of scouting where everyone would know how they feel about a player. So like if he doesn't take Bo Callahan first, then like everyone who had there is some thought to whoever had 2 could have been like, well, we really want the player at 2 and we don't need a quarterback, because they do go over that concept where whoever has the 5th pick, they're like, oh, he has an all-pro quarterback, they don't need him. That's true. That team could try to look to trade also. That's a thing that's happened in the past.
I assume
but
what happens then is someone in like the 3 to 6 range just says, okay,
yeah.
what's your best offer? Because we don't need him.
Yeah, we don't need him, and we can get the tackle or
And
whatever they're going to.
someone
take later.
absolutely would have traded up to get him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and that's the thing. Like if 2
And I guess
and
that you
3
say
would-
like, you know, what happened to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and sometimes they fall, but usually you assume people fall because everyone found the same knocks on them, not because one guy didn't pick them. And it's like, well, Sonny Weaver knows everything, or what does Sonny Weaver not know that we don't know?
He knows that Bo Callahan has no friends.
Yeah, yeah. We do have to talk about that.
Oh my God, the best out of context like quote in that movie is like, "Why didn't your teammates go to your birthday party?" I racked my head to figure out what they meant by that. I don't know if it's like
teammates don't like him.
Yeah, was it like that he was an asshole so no one wanted to go? Was it that he was an asshole so he didn't invite people to go? Like I was just like, where are they going with this?
All of them are problematic.
Yeah, I think it's that not either way it's a bad look because this movie's written by boomers, and so this is like work
they
is
think
your
we care
life.
about birthday parties.
So all your friends are supposed to come from work
Right.
also.
Yeah.
Work is your family.
That line was so funny to me. Just I couldn't believe like
No one went to his birthday party, Sonny.
Oh,
like
that reminds
dramatic
me of
music. Like,
the guy too that just spoke in riddles. It's like ask me about
Sonny.
this, Sonny.
That
Hey,
is-
just tell me about like.
I'd like you to
just
play
ask me
your
about
weird
this.
kink.
He was one of the best parts of this movie.
that is a fairly bald attempt to ape an Aaron Sorkin dialogue style, I have to say, because the guy has a pattern that he repeats.
It was good when he was like.
Then he calls Sam Elliott, and Sam Elliott's like, "You got a woman there? A woman don't know nothing about football." Sorry, that's just an oblique reference to what he said about Power of the Dog.
Yeah. Also, we all
Vaz got it.
Yeah, that was for me.
We all know with Sam Elliott, they were definitely like, who would play a college football coach? Oh, Sam Elliott. It's like, okay, what's the nearest college to where Sam Elliott currently is that we can drive him there, throw a sweatshirt on him, and have him film a scene? I don't even know if that scene was actually filmed in Wisconsin. It probably wasn't, but I damn sure know that it is the most local college to Sam Elliott's actual location, because that's the only thing that they could have done.
I want to go back to Bo Callahan.
Yeah,
Just
go back
real
to Bo
quick.
Callahan.
They talked about how the guy from Veep and the other guys from the Browns were like, "Oh man, he has like sex with a woman like 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner."
That's just dumb. Like,
Yeah, just dumb, misogynistic, quote unquote
like
locker room talk.
a star college football player's schedule, he doesn't have the time.
He doesn't.
It would take a Herculean effort.
And just like they would have to be bringing women to the locker room in between practices.
Like that's his Gatorade. Like
Bro's
when he wins a
tired.
game, they bring like a bunch of women and they dump it right on him.
That's the only logical way that guy's like, I may be a middle-aged man, but this is what I think. Like,
They cut to the sidelines instead of like oxygen. It's just some like,
Oh my God.
girl.
they have 2 blue tents on the sideline.
He has to motorboat a woman. That's how he gets back in. I'm good, guy.
You
I'm
gotta-
good, coach.
You got to keep all this in.
Yeah, I guess we do. If it was just us, but Bree's laughing too, so I think it's okay. We can keep it in.
Yeah, no, it's
I don't want to just be those 3 guys eating pizza.
pizza.
I do. I also to quickly go back to.
He's dying out there. Get him in the tent.
The fuck tent from Black Sails. Okay. The Bo Callahan's agent, played by P. Diddy, of course.
I think he's just Diddy now.
Is it just Diddy? Sorry, apologies to
just
Mr. Diddy.
I think he changed it back to Puff Daddy.
That's what I said. That's what I thought. We were talking
Yeah,
about
you
this.
said
I
that.
thought he
I have
was
no
back
idea
To
Oh,
what
he's back to
Or
Mr.
he's
Daddy?
changed it to
Or
or is it
Puffy.
Puffy now?
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
back
I think
to
he went
Son
back to
Puffy
Puffy.
Combs.
Yeah,
What?
he is.
He had a weird phase. He's been going through a lot.
Yeah.
Give him some slack.
The number, like,
Sean, our friend Sean.
yeah, my friend Sean. They're at the draft, and like, I actually think Puffy does a good job in this movie of being a agent who's trying to be reasonable and calm. Like, I did like the sign. I did like the part of his character where like Bo's on the phone with Kevin Costner and he's got the notepad and he's like, tell him about his dad, like, because like that's the shit that agents should be doing.
Yeah.
Unlike Vontae Mac's agent that's like, I hope you get picked at 15. And then he's just chanting Vontae Mac.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, so they have the scene where they're at the table at the draft. This dude is about to get drafted like first overall, guaranteed first overall pick, something that the actual NFL draft has seen many times, like no doubter quarterback. We just had one last year with Trevor Lawrence. No one even speculated other first rounders going anywhere else out of the like. If you saw a mock draft that had Trevor Lawrence not going one, it was probably prefaced with this is just kind of a hinky draft. Like, just what happens if a Bo Callahan situation happens? But like. You got P. Diddy that gets the call and he's like, hey, it's the Browns. Let's go. You know, like, and they hits the Browns and Kevin Costner just says, why didn't anyone go to your birthday party? And he was like, I don't remember it. And he's like, oh, yeah, it's okay. I didn't either. Bye. And then, like, P. Diddy's like, oh, like, what was that? And Bo Callahan's like, nothing. Like,
just
what?
more examples of
wasn't
lying.
Concerning to you at all on a professional level? But the only question the Browns GM had for you in the most pivotal moment of your life, you didn't have an answer for, and he clearly seems concerned about, and you were just like, nothing.
Yeah, no, that guy
I don't want to
sucks.
talk about.
He felt like a pathological liar. Like it just
Yes.
seemed like everything had to be a
He
lie.
lied about the $100 bill at the back of the playbook.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Ask
It's
me
like-
who mailed it back. It was Brian Drew.
Oh, Brian Drew. I thought it was in the scene. I thought it was Brian Matt. It was
Brian
That's
Drew.
what I thought
Yeah.
too. I was gonna say Vontae Mack.
Yeah.
We should talk about Vontae Mack no matter what, which might be the best reveal in sports movie history.
I do want to say, so if my interpretation is correct, in the beginning of the movie, Jennifer Garner tells Kevin Costner that she's pregnant, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the first thing he does is write Vontae back, no matter
Yeah.
what.
Yep.
On a piece of paper and put it in its pocket.
Well, that was a part of the reason she was pissed because like he didn't react well, and then she
No,
read
and
the
then he just
note
thought
like
about the
early
draft day.
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
She
you
read
can-
that note early.
Yeah.
And put it back on in his shit.
Yeah.
But oh my god, just
Like, oh, he's already thinking of names.
Yeah.
I did suss out that he was
Her
gonna
name-
pick
her
Vontae Mack
name's
pretty
Vontae Mack.
early.
Yeah.
Could have also
Vontae
by the
Weaver.
time he
If it's a
decided,
boy, we'll name him Vontae.
by the
If it's a girl, we'll
Yeah.
name him Mac.
in real life, if you know that there's a trade or you know you're going to take Vontae Mack one, you trade down. Like you're just like, I screwed up, traded up. I'm trading back down. Like, and you trade down to like 10 or something.
Yeah. Get an extra third or something.
Yeah.
You know.
I assume no one would call you asking about one after you traded for one, but you never know.
Well, they call him about Brian Drew, which
They do, which makes sense.
Poor Kansas City. I don't think he ever calls him back.
No, he doesn't. Home of the Chiefs. As they always told
They
you,
need-
Kansas City, home of the Chiefs.
Oh God, that is the weird phrasing they use.
Yeah.
Man.
Just weirdly formal in a way that it didn't need to be.
Yeah. And a lot of the team, also funny for the time, a lot of the teams that they basically said were bad, like the Seahawks have the number one pick, assumedly meaning that they were bad the year before. They won the Super Bowl the year before in real life. Obviously, when they started writing and filming this movie, that probably hadn't happened yet.
Yeah.
The Chiefs hadn't taken off yet, but they do take off right after that. The Browns certainly don't get better right after that movie. They actually go through a very rough period around the time that movie comes out. But safe to assume that they would have a top pick, though, so that wasn't bad.
Oh, and I messed up before when I said all he got for his 3 second-round picks was paying more for one and staying at 7. He also gets a punt returner.
David goddamn Putney. Just because he feels like it.
Again,
Like,
is that
fuck
a real
you,
person?
pancake eating motherfucker.
Is that a real person or is that just some name they made up?
None of the players are real besides Ray Lewis.
And then like the fucking I mean, maybe he's like Devin Hester level, but
yeah,
the different guys, Rich Eisen and
Chris
shit
Berman,
at the end, and
yeah.
everyone like they got 3 impact players.
I said this to Bree. I was like, you getting a punt returner, that guy could get cut tomorrow and no one would probably care.
Yeah, they were so like, this guy, like, this is so important, like, this is such a big decision, and then you were just like, that's not a thing.
That's not a big deal. It's a nice
I
thing to throw
mean,
in, I guess, if you
yeah.
don't have a
Yeah,
good punt
I guess,
returner.
yeah.
Like nowadays, there's a couple. Like I know Pharaoh Cooper's really good, but it's like you can find those in the draft. Like every college team has a
Sure,
punt returner.
yes.
You'll see them. You want your punt return to do other stuff well. You don't. There's very few people that solely return kicks. It's mostly like your third or fourth wide receiver. That special thing is that they're really fast. Like you have a deep threat wide receiver.
They already have a star wide receiver.
And they do.
Andre
Yeah,
Bello,
Andre
so-
Bello. But yeah, so I mean that was kind of weird. I think they could have saved it a little bit because they had that weird montage draft day party at the end where Frank Langella is like, "We had a great day." They have Arian Foster's character Ray, something I can't remember, the running back guy, and Vontae Mack come on stage, and they all just stand there triumphantly. It really would have been great if they just got somebody who just very largely had like David Putney written on his shirt.
David goddamn
Putney, star wide receiver Andre Bellows right next to him.
Also, I don't know.
And just like a tiny white guy.
Yeah. They just got Danny Woodhead to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know the full extent of drafts, but they pick more players,
That
right?
also-
Like,
I
only just
also
those
said that.
three
It
guys.
was 7
technically, technically, night one is just round one now. I don't know if it was in
Yeah.
2014.
I don't remember that either.
because I know that was a change.
that was a
right?
change. They used to do 1, 2, and I think they used to do 1, 2, and 3
Mm-hmm.
all the first day. And
Now they
then-
do 1, then 2, 3, and then the weekend's the rest, right?
Yeah, is Thursday is 1, yeah, Friday's 2, 3. And then they like I think the clock for the first round is like 10 minutes. And then I think for the second and third round it like gets shortened to like 5. And then the last
think it's
4, I
like
think it's like
2.
2. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's and like the last rounds, like they showed at like noon on like a Saturday,
Right,
and they
yeah.
talk over the picks. Like the picks come
Yeah,
in
they
on
come
the
on
ticker.
the ticker, yeah.
And so like it's not crazy, but it is weird. Yeah, like it's weird.
They definitely have
Yeah.
more work to do.
Yeah, there's more work to do. There's third round, like the fact that Denis Leary is like, I'm gonna leave this team because it doesn't have a future. It's like, well, one, like they're trying, like it's clear that they're trying to win this year with like Brian Drew, and they're just trying to get some big top tier draft picks. And then you still have the 3rd through 7th rounds to fill in your gaps. Like it's not gonna be slam dunks, but like you got chances.
Yeah, it's still
you got
there's still
free
guys.
agency. Like
Yeah. And
You can
you're
easily-
losing all those first round picks. You're gonna have some cap room.
yeah, and then this year the Rams won the title, and they famously trade away all their picks all the time.
Yep.
So like it doesn't even matter.
Yep. Yeah. What was I? Oh, yes. So they just lie a bunch in this movie. One thing I do want to, in case someone's yelling at like, oh, I can't believe they don't talk about all the lying. They lie all the time in
Yeah.
this movie. They say football was invented in Canton. That's not true. The NFL was founded in Canton, but and you can understand why in this movie they don't see a difference. But the NFL did not invent football.
No.
Football just came out of rugby. But the NFL was founded technically in Canton. So but they lie about that.
Yep.
And just all kinds of shit.
There's not even a draft day, I heard.
There's not even a draft
That's
day.
made up.
No one watches it on TV. Roger Goodell is a figment of our collective imagination.
There's no practice field called the Sonny Weaver practice
That's
field.
true.
That is true. They do lie about that.
But yeah, anyway, that's just one example of many, just as, like I said, I didn't do notes for this one, but as you're watching the movie, you're like, that doesn't sound right. And it's not, probably. You're probably correct.
I did want to say, I know we were brought up like famous lines, or, famous lines, our
Yes.
favorite
Yeah.
lines.
Famous AFI's 100 years, 100 quotes.
This one should be like in the top 10. So this was... This was just an off-cut one that caught me by surprise. And I'm pretty sure no one noticed it. It was from Rich Eisen. So this is when Sonny just put in his first pick for Vontae Mack, and he's just giving commentary what's going on draft day, and he says, "And the pick is in. It's currently being brandished by some walkie-talked individual." Which
I'd also mention that for actual draft day, people might say the pick is in. That is a term that is thrown around for draft day. No one ever talks about the actual pick being walked up.
Yeah, no color
Like,
commentary.
The talking heads are paying way more attention to what's happening, where they'd mostly usually
Yeah.
just be talking about.
Also, they try and drum up actual drama that, ooh, what if they don't make the pick in time? And they say that happened a year ago or whatever. It's
Yeah,
I don't
and-
remember.
and then in real,
That's not a thing.
in real drafts, also owner, you see it with is it Ray Taylor? Is that the running back? I forget. Arian Foster's character, Terry Cruz's son. He says it. He's like, hey, Denis Leary, go call. Maybe Ray
They are
Jennings.
they
I
are
think
the
it is Ray
Jennings.
Jennings. Yeah, Ray Jennings. He's like, hey, go call Ray Jennings and tell him like he's going to be a Brown. That is a thing that really happens. A coach or general manager or somebody like that will call the player before the pick is announced, kind of just to like congratulate them, give them a heads up. The player has no control in the situation where they get drafted. So it's not like to call them and be like, hey, I guess you got to hoof it over to, Cleveland. Sorry, bud. Like, you're like, sorry if you're from like Miami and now you're living in Cleveland for 5 years. But it's like, it's supposed to be a nice congratulatory thing. So usually in the NFL draft coverage, the pick is spoiled because you'll just see a dude on a phone smiling, nodding. And that's not happening in this. Like, there's just the first pick will probably know ahead of time because no one's going to steal it from them. So that doesn't get called. Everyone else gets called.
And in that specific situation, when Ray Jennings maybe gets picked, they do. His whole table stands up and starts cheering and stuff before they announce it. So,
which is like that is a thing that happens.
That is the thing that happens. Famously, in the NBA drafts, Adrian Wojnarowski had to start using weird euphemisms because he was told by the NBA to stop tipping picks.
Yep.
And so he'll say stuff like, the Nets are zeroing in on this guy like a full 3 minutes before their pick is in.
Yeah.
Or the Rockets are enthusiastic about this guy. Like, he'll just say,
Chris Berman used to do that a lot to a point where Chris Berman used to say, like, especially with the way people are talking up. So, like, John Gruden might have been sitting there for the whole time being like, this is a no doubt cornerback pick. Like, like, they need to lock down on the side. This guy's got the wingspan. It's all done. And then Chris Berman would be like, like, oh, and like, certainly could be thinking corner or maybe wide receiver. Let's go to Goodell. And it's like, it's wide receiver. This guy out of here, like stuff like that would happen. It was kind of funny. But yeah, the NFL draft is much more. I'm sure the draft rooms are much more chaotic even than they're showing, but the trades that are happening are bananas. I guess is really the moral of the story. None of the only trade that would have happened was the first one. And if that trade was made, that was locked in. They were never going to do anything. There would have been scouting. They would have made that. He wouldn't have made that trade on the side of the road when he pulled over. Like, he would have made that trade in a war room full of people going, are we sure about this? Okay, fine. Put him back on speaker. Let's call it in. And then everyone would have high-fived for 8 hours while they waited to pick Bo Callahan.
Yep. That's the long and short of it, really.
Great. We did not watch everyone else at draft day during draft day, so we don't know if anyone took the playbook and like burnt it on fire or like, oh, that's our only copy.
The $100 bill in the back of it.
God.
They also, I do like the part where and this is true, where Kevin Costner is like, oh, someone's always a GOAT tomorrow. You don't want it to be you. To the Jaguars guy, who he promptly made the GOAT of tomorrow because the Jaguars traded their top 10 pick for 3 future second rounders and nothing else, which is a horrible trade.
Yeah.
Because he probably should have gotten firsts.
Especially when, Bo Callahan was still on the board.
Kevin Costner traded 3 first-round or 2 additional first-round picks to move up 6 picks. The Jaguars traded out of the first round. They don't have a first-rounder anymore.
Yeah,
and
they
got
don't even
3
move back.
seconds that'll probably be in the middle or the end of the draft.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for sating me.
And we've done it.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on draft day?
I like that there was a ticking clock reminding us all of our mortality, which I think was the main theme of this film.
Yeah, it was ennui and late stage capitalism.
I can't wait for the remake, the French film remake.
Now that I'll see.
Did you just admit you didn't see Draft Day?
I saw Draft Day. I know too much about Draft Day to not have seen it.
Yeah, Kevin Costner pretty good. Everyone else pretty bad.
Chadwick Boseman good.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, Chadwick Boseman's
he's-
good. It's just really off-putting that they're making him do that voice.
Yeah, no, that was bad. And I'm just sad that he had to do that movie.
Is he doing like a Maryland accent or something? It's strange.
I literally can't tell.
I didn't hear him say there's a classic Maryland accent like Harvard Yard, like I think it's Aaron earned an iron earn, and it's just they just say like earn or something like that. Like that's a funny YouTube clip if you want to look up Maryland accent Aaron earned and Iron earned. It's a good little.
I will do that.
I love accents.
But yeah, it is. It's either
right on.
it's either Maryland. He's Ohio State is his school, which doesn't actually matter.
Yeah.
It could
Yeah, I
be
don't know.
Maryland. But yeah, he is doing an accent that is certainly not his voice, and everyone else is doing their voice, including Frank Langella, who actually sounds like that. I'm sorry, disgraced actor Frank.
Thank
Langella.
you.
Yes. Disgraced actor Frank Langella is, I guess he's fine. It's not his fault his character's doing terrible things, but he didn't have to do terrible things in
real life. Yeah.
There's been recent reports about him on the set of Frank and Robot, where the robot did not like working with him.
Oh, that's a whole thing with Bill Murray right now. On he got a whole movie shut down for inappropriate behavior.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, he treated Lucy Liu like shit too.
Yeah,
on
Bill
all his shows.
Murray's
He
always kind of
he's
been
been
the
Yeah,
shitty for a
it
while.
was always weird to me that was kind of just like, well, that was weird. Let's not have any
weirdly
consequences for
tossed
this.
aside.
Wes Anderson saw that and was like, "Ooh, yikes! All right, let's get him away from Lucy Liu and have him continue acting forever."
Yeah. We should probably just finish the podcast.
Oh yeah.
Draft day.
I'm curious what you guys would rate draft day out of 1 through 10 picks.
Well, my review is on.
I guess 1 would be the
Letterboxd.
best in that case.
What's your letterbox review?
Out of
I mean,
5.
that's out of 5.
Out of 5. What round would you give this?
2.5.
And higher is better.
Wait, higher is
Oh.
better, so 5 is the best.
Yeah,
Okay.
basically out of 5 stars, but I'm
How
making
many
it.
rounds are there?
For this rating, there are 5 rounds, and 5 is the best.
I would pick it in the 4th round.
You give it a 4 out of 5?
I'll pick it. Oh wait, no. I thought
Yeah,
I was gonna pick it in the 4th round
It's by far
of the
the best.
draft, not the first round. The first round's a good one, right?
No, the first round's the worst for this
Oh, then I'm
rating
gonna
system.
do
For this
second
rating,
round draft pick.
So
Draft
you'd give
pick.
it 2 out of 5 rounds?
Yes, 2 out of 5 rounds. 12 rounds is obviously the highest rated draft movie.
I'd probably pick it halfway through the third round, which would make it 2.5.
How are you
Okay, but I don't
confused?
know.
It's literally the same no matter what. You pick
Well, because I was going to say the second and a half, but if that sounds like halfway through the second, then I'm
Oh, I
saying
see what you mean.
1.5.
So okay, I want to
I'm
revise
saying
mine.
2.5.
If I was able to get my way to get a second round draft pick, then then that would be this movie.
Wait.
So,
So it's a 2 out of 5.
Yes.
Okay. I'd go 2.5 out of 5 rounds.
so
halfway through the 3rd round, it's 2.5 rounds.
Yeah.
So I had this movie as a second round pick, but it's okay because I traded my 3 future second round picks to make it a third. So I'll give it a third.
This is why
round
we haven't
pick.
got any good sports movies in a while.
So you're giving it a 3 out of 5 rounds.
Yes.
Okay.
3 out of 5 rounds.
How do you think?
I'll probably do 2. Like it was
Okay.
like I said earlier, like I can't say that I hated it because I just felt like it was a little too deep of a cut. Like I just didn't understand a lot of the references, and maybe if I had a football background, I might have at least found it more entertaining for how dumb it is. But even for the things I didn't understand and the dumb bits and stuff, it was still pretty entertaining. Like I wasn't falling asleep the entire time like I originally thought it was going to. So yeah, I'll give it a 2.
So 2 scenes of Jennifer Garner doing an emotional labor for an adult man out of 5.
Just 20 years younger. That was never
Here's
really
how to be
that
an
addressed.
adult. He's like, I've just got no feelings except sometimes I do when I am football.
2 I am footballs out of 10.
Yeah, 2.
Footballs out of 10.
All right. So yeah, in summation, we're just a Cleveland girl and we are football. You can find us on Instagram at latetothemovies_podcast. Follow us there. We put up fun pictures once a week. They're like poster parodies. I shouldn't just say fun pictures. That sounds weird.
No, that sounds fun though.
It does sound fun though. Posters of the movie that we did parodies, not just of posters.
Oh, what's
Not
gonna
like
cost him to be
parody
holding
of the
this time?
idea of posters.
Is he still gonna hold a football or gonna hold something else?
It's going to be your head.
It'll be a
Oh no! Why, Kevin?
We're locking it in, I guess. I was probably not going to do that, but now I will. I think our last one for Mighty Ducks is probably the best one we've done so far.
Oh, that one was really good.
Yep. That one was really fun. You can also send us emails if you want, at Gmail. Late to the movies at gmail.com. And in both cases, 2 is the number, not 2 spelled out. So, yeah, there you go. Please rate and review us. I always feel gross saying that, but this movie's all product, so why not me? You can do that now on Spotify. You can do ratings. Ratings is the word I was looking for. And obviously on Apple Podcasts, you can rate and review us. We still only have a handful of reviews, so if you review it, you have a lot of power. It's a big percentage of our overall score. And aside from that, you can go on the TeePublic, buy 50 to 30 shirts. One of them has Greg's face on it. He's smiling. It's very funny. What else? That's pretty much it. Touchdown. We did it.
Offsides.
Woo.
We did it.
Encroachment.
Your star wide receiver, Andre. Thanks for being on the podcast, guys.
Thanks.
Hell yeah.
You pancake eating motherfucker.
And scene.
Very good closer.